Well, as we head into June, did you know it is also National Safety Month? The National Safety Council is kicking off the month by revealing its annual list of Americans' odds of dying from various causes. Joining us now ahead of the release is Deborah Hersman, President and CEO of the National Safety Council. Good of you to join us once again, Deborah. It sounds a little morbid to have an odds of dying list, but nonetheless, I would imagine that if you know your own odds of dying, you can try to beat the odds, right?
Absolutely. We know that knowledge is power, and so we put this list out really to share with Americans what some of the riskiest things are. While people think a lot about shark attacks or even San Andreas, #1 at the box office this weekend, they think about earthquakes, lightning strikes. These things are extremely rare and seldom are fatal. We have a lot more things to worry about, and those are things like car crashes, prescription drug overdoses, and for older Americans, falls.
Well, what is the leading cause of unintentional death in America?
The leading cause of unintentional death in America right now is prescription painkiller overdoses. And so we look at all age groups, and this is a real risk as we look at our population. And so sometimes the thing that's the most deadly is something that people don't often think about. It's right there in your medicine cabinet.
And you've broken it down state by state, like the worst and the best states in terms of those unintentional deaths, Deborah?
That's right. We know that some of the rural states are the hardest hit states. West Virginia is at the very bottom, New Mexico and Montana. A lot of prescription drug abuse and also a lot of motor vehicle crashes on rural roadways.
How can employers help support for their employees? We talked recently about cell phone policy, for example. I mean, obviously, if you're driving any kind of vehicle for your work, then it is up to the employer to have a good safety policy for that. But are there other kinds of policies that perhaps employers can support?
Absolutely. We know that the causes of unintentional death are many, but there are a lot of interventions that can be taken. It costs society $820 billion a year to deal with these unintentional deaths, and companies, they are dealing with the majority of these costs: lost wages, productivity, insurance, workers' comp. And so companies have a huge stake in this, whether the injuries occur on the job or off the job. Having a prescription drug program, they can download a free toolkit at nsc.org. Same thing with the distracted driving. We have toolkits for employers to take advantage to reduce their employees' odds of dying.
You mentioned your website just then, nsc.org. If I went to that website, could I also take the test or the survey for finding out my own odds of dying?
Well, you can certainly find information there about odds of dying. We have a whole bunch of statistics and the data there, and also interventions that you can just take yourself to reduce your odds of dying. And I think things like motor vehicle crashes, it's buckling up, making sure that you have a drug and alcohol-free driver, and making sure that you put those cell phones away, really important.
Keep everyone safe. Thank you very much for the good work. Deborah Hersman.
Thank you.
Well,